Hello and welcome to the special edition of Bayou Time as we bring to you some footage and information from the new Cardiovascular Horizons Conference. Took place in New Orleans at the Roosevelt Hotel in New Orleans, and they had such a wonderful group of people, 4 continents and 1,000 participants because of Dr. Craig Walker. And of course, we know Dr. Craig Walker as the founder of Cardiovascular Institute of the South, but he's also the founder of the new Cardiovascular Horizons Conference. They do several of these. This is the largest in New Orleans, and it took place over in the week of Memorial Day. Lots of different days that they did this, and so much information about how to learn how to be a better doctor, about some of these interventions that are taking place in the field of cardiology. And we turn our attention now to Dr. Craig Walker there at the conference.
Dr. Walker, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Keith. This has been a lot of fun. We've had a great takeoff today. I'm excited about the meeting.
Well, for those of us that know you, and we know as the founder of Cardiovascular Institute of the South, and now the founder of New Cardiovascular Horizons, let's talk a little bit about how far we've come in these 24 years now of celebrating this.
Sure. Well, healthcare has come a long ways. And, this conference has as its major focus peripheral vascular disorders. Those are peripheral artery disorders, or blockages of arteries outside the heart, and the heart as well, but outside the heart, but also vein problems. Peripheral arterial disease is poorly diagnosed and poorly treated, but vein disease yet even more so. Vein disease is the most expensive disease process that we have. It's the second leading cause of sudden death. It's a huge problem, yet it's really not discussed very much. And peripheral arterial disease is a very serious problem as well. It is more common than heart disease. So if we look at this, these problems are more common than all cancers put together, more common than diabetes, and they affect many people and they make people miserable. So I can't tell you in my lifetime how many people I've seen with venous disease who suffer every day, who never get a diagnosis and never get a treatment. Goals of a meeting like this are to teach people the importance of these diseases. How do we prevent the complications? How do we treat patients to give them symptomatic relief and improve their lifestyle? And this has gained tremendous traction. As you can see, this meeting is exploding. Every year it's bigger. We've attracted people from 4 continents. We have well over 1,000 attendees who've come from all over the world. And there's a lot of enthusiasm about what we're doing in the treatment of these peripheral vascular disorders, predominantly arterial and venous disorders.
Well, and the other thing is that you're bringing in, we're going to get a chance to talk to one of them a little bit later, doctors like Dr. Doug, who are fellows, and teaching them early on in their career before they become interventionists about how to do this and do it well.
That's right. You see, learning how to deal with these diseases is crucial when treating other problems too, not just for this disease. For instance, if we have blocked leg arteries and we have to replace someone's heart valve with a percutaneous valve, they have to come through those blocked arteries. We're teaching them how to do that. Or if someone has a pulmonary embolus, we're teaching them how to go in and take that clot out, not in hours or days, but in minutes, where it can save a life immediately. This is very important. The changes in peripheral vascular treatment are immense, and patients can benefit tremendously from this.
Well, and even those in the ancillary areas that have learned, like I was as a social worker, being able to go into the cath lab with people like yourself, showing me the value of what that was 25 years ago. Now we fast forward to all of the new and exciting changes that have come with these new interventions, right?
For sure. To see a patient who is unresponsive, has no blood pressure, who in minutes is now responsive, has blood pressure, is talking to you, is miraculous. It's still miraculous to me after 40 years of doing this, and it's what gives me the enthusiasm. I'm often asked, am I going to retire? And I said, why? I love what I do. It was always my dream to improve care in my community, and it's a dream I've been able to pursue. And it's one that I don't want to give up. Not now, not at any time in the future. We are making a difference here. The statistics coming out of Houma, Louisiana are fantastic if we compare them across the United States and across the world. And our job is to make them yet better. We are not going to end until we do the best job humanly possible with the tools we have.
And that's what CIS has always been about. That's now what New Cardiovascular Horizons is about. And it's wonderful to be able to see, like you said, 4 continents, thousands of people coming to learn about these interventions. Thank you so much for your vision and what you've seen and being so passionate about it. We can't thank you enough for bringing this to so many people.
Thank you, Keith. I really appreciate you guys showing up. HTV has been wonderful, helping us get these ideas out to the community. Getting these ideas into the community is important because if we can't see the patients, we can't help them. If somebody has an ulcer on their leg, they need to see someone. If they have varicose veins, they need to see someone. These are treatable disorders. You don't have to suffer. They're easily treated safely, and we can do a lot for this.
Thank you again, Dr. Walker. We appreciate it. Dr. Pradeep Nair, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Yes. So, Doc, one of the things we like to talk about is maybe how you got down here. Tell us about your move to South Louisiana and how you got here.
Sure. I've been here for a while now. 2014, I was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's my hometown. Most people in Houma know that by now because I'm a big Steelers fan.
Yes, sir.
But I had this passion to learn beyond what I was doing in interventional cardiology and endovascular intervention, treating patients with peripheral vascular disease. And, you think about where you can train in those days. There really weren't many places where you could go, but there was one place you could go, and that was Houma, Louisiana.
Right.
At that time, I didn't know where Houma was. I had to learn. I had to do a little bit of a learning process. But I came down in 2014. I met Dr. Walker at CIS, had dinner at Cristiano's, and I was sold in like the first 5 minutes. I knew it instantaneously that he was going to be my mentor. I spent a year, 2014, as his fellow.
Okay.
And then what I really quickly realized is that CIS in general, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, is a home. It's a family atmosphere, and you really can't recreate that anywhere else.
Yeah.
And so the next thing you know, fast forward 9 years, I've been here. This is my 9th NCVH conference.
Right.
I've seen this conference grow in leaps and bounds. I learned a ton, get better every day, but it's been a pleasure to be able to work in the Bayou region.
Well, we're so very glad to have you. And more importantly, we're so very glad to see y'all be able to develop some of these new interventions that are saving lives. Like Dr. Walker mentioned, we have 4 different continents, 1,000 people here at the conference. It's got to feel exciting to be so much a part of that as the vice chair of this particular event.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I think, in my opinion, the preeminent vascular conference in the country for sure, and some may argue in the world. We have the best of the best from around the world coming here, gathering, and we do deep dives on how we can treat our patients, and we learn new techniques. We discuss our techniques and teach others. But one of the things that I find very refreshing is the fact that what we learn at this conference, we can bring back home to our patients in Houma, to our patients in Thibodaux and Gray. And I think that's been the beauty of that I've noticed over the last 9 years being with this conference.
We welcome in Ryan Hebert, who is the Chief Operating Officer for Cardiovascular Institute of the South. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me here this evening.
So one of the things that we found out is that today was rather dedicated to talking about kind of the business aspect of treating some of these illnesses. Talk to us a little bit about what they learned today.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of things changing in healthcare. The dynamics of healthcare are continuing to evolve in the way that we treated patients in the past versus the present. And what we have to do for the future is consistently changing. In order to do some things as concepts, we have to be able to start really incorporating virtual care, programs at home services, looking at innovative ways of detecting disease in the early stages for preventative measures. But it also incorporates how do we kind of navigate through the world of healthcare economics. We all know that the cost of healthcare continues to rise. Populations of our communities are living older, which is a fantastic thing. However, we also got to focus on the treatments and the capabilities. So by finding new avenues, new techniques, exploring the ways, we have to constantly look and evaluating the evolution of the treatment of not only peripheral vascular, but coronary disease. And that's one of the things that's really special about this conference is we're bringing in the pioneers of medicine to help us navigate, here are the ways that we treat, but also let's take the business aspect of using new service lines and really kind of navigate the economic components of how to be successful in this new world that we live in.
And that was one of the things that Cardiovascular Institute of the South kind of recognized as you expanded to the Gray Clinic. And then let's talk about how well that is going.
Right. So the Gray Clinic was a first ambulatory surgery center that we built. The principle behind that is actually focused on the patient. The patients have choice, and the choices that they're looking for is high quality, low cost, ease of access. The program has excelled. Now look, I want to make sure I understand. Our programs and our affiliations with our hospitals are extremely important because we need them for a lot of acute specialty services, as well as still day-to-day. But the program in Gray was really kind of identified as a new way of providing access to cardiovascular care in an outpatient setting, which is also being driven by the payers. The payers are driving a lot. Medicare set the standard. Other payers are following suit. And that is allowing us to provide the same access, the same care, but we're looking to do what everybody else is at a lower cost. Dr. Walker and all of our physicians in the Bayou region really appreciate the place. We have really state-of-the-art equipment there, and a lot to be proud of.
Well, it is one of those things that it was state-of-the-art in the vision. Another one of those things that Dr. Walker is very humble about, but in the vision of how to make healthcare affordable and make it about the patient. That, it seems, exactly what Gray has done.
That is correct. So Dr. Walker, we're celebrating 40 years, which is spectacular. Really had the vision of centered around our mission statement to provide our patients the highest quality cardiovascular care available. And when you put that into concept, that embraces all aspects: preventative medicine, intratherapies, post-care medicine, all incorporated. But it goes back to how do you create that quality component at lower costs for the patient, for the payers, which is a win for everybody in the community.
Yeah, and again, coming from your side, from that financial side, it just makes better sense. And again, CIS setting the standard about how we move into the future. We can't thank you enough for being a part of that.
Thank you, and I appreciate y'all being here this evening and joining us.
Tell us a little bit about your story. Tell us about how you got down to come and experience this conference.
So I work at Cardiovascular Institute of South.
Right.
I came under and worked with Dr. Craig Walker. Craig Walker is one of the pioneers in peripheral arterial disease and its treatment. What really inspired me is a story that he came in from Houma. He went and got educated, and he came back to Houma to create this peripheral arterial disease awareness. So I heard about him in Pittsburgh, where I was doing my training, and I met one of the doctors who used to work with him, and he advised me to go down to Craig and work with him. I came here almost 10 years ago, and I'm still here. And I think this has been a great journey. It's been an experience to learn about peripheral arterial disease, help create awareness in people, prevent amputation, and improve their quality of life.
Well, now that it's the 24th year for this conference, and you've been here for 10 years, this exciting time, tell us what you've seen in the growth and some of the changes with some of these new interventions that have come along.
So New Cardiovascular Horizons has been instrumental in bringing cutting-edge technology and awareness to people in Louisiana. We have all the doctors from all over the world who come in and show what they have. Not only that, the industry has also been very interested, and they allow us to bring us and develop their products and ask for any kind of advice which will help us improve these treatments for our patients. So I think it's very exciting. This conference has grown tremendously into a national, international conference. And not only we have been able to use this in patient safety, but also in order to develop more products which may be better for our patients.
Yeah, and again, being able to have those experts from all over the world really talking and sharing information, it's got to be exciting to be able to see what y'all can go and change lives down in Houma and Gray.
Yes, not only that, we feel that Houma and Gray, we brought the best technology that is being available to people all over the world, and people in Houma and Gray are the first ones to receive it. And that's what really gives us a purpose in what we are doing, to be able to bring the best technology to our patients first in where we practice.
Well, Dr. Loder, we are certainly very glad to have you, very excited you're part of this, but more importantly, 10 years down in our hometown taking care of patients, making them better, and improving the lives of the people in our community. We can't thank you enough.
Thank you so much. This place has really given me everything what I have today. This is home to me. Thank you so much for all that.
Dr. Doug Ream, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Dr. Ream, tell us a little bit about maybe your excitement and how you were able to get a fellowship down here with Dr. Walker doing this great work.
So I had the pleasure, Dr. Walker has this conference, NCVH, and it's all over the country. It's not just here. They're a little smaller, usually weekend-long courses, but he used to do them in Philadelphia, still does, in South New Jersey and Atlantic City. My boss and mentor up in South Jersey, Richard Kovach, who's an integral part of NCVH as well, does a lot of the talks, is good friends with Dr. Walker. They traveled to China together, taught over there. So I had an excellent training up there, but it wasn't quite the volume I was comfortable with, and not the pathology, I should say, to kind of go out on my own and really excel in that field. So once I knew Dr. Kovach well. I met Dr. Walker a few times. I found out about the opportunity, and then once Dr. Walker kind of gave me the green light, it was something I couldn't pass up. He's arguably one of the best in the world at what he does. He's a guru and a pioneer in the field. So it's a year I couldn't pass up, and I'm damn glad I didn't either.
We're so very excited that you've come down to be able to do this, but you're seeing some things down here. South Louisiana, known for a lot of things, but we have a lot of cardiovascular disease, a lot of PAD down here, a lot of PVD that people need help with. And so how exciting was it to come down and see a lot of those kinds of cases?
Like you said, the pathology down here is pretty wild. There's a lot of patients in need, a lot of patients that, what our docs and our team are able to treat is kind of life-changing for them. So it's been very exciting to, treat these patients. I've learned a ton down here. My skill set has evolved, but it's not just doing the procedures, right? So it's a lot of screening. It's patients getting in before they have those problems. One of my mentors said it best today. One of the best ways to treat PAD is to prevent it. So, we do these procedures, sure. We're able to save limbs and heal wounds and prevent amputations and those kind of things. But one of the biggest things is starting from square one, and that's prevention of PAD, getting these patients in early, making sure they're screened, making sure they're on the correct medications, making sure they're adjusting their lifestyle the best they can, before we even get to that point.
And what are some of those things they need to be looking out for? For somebody watching at home, maybe some of those signs or symptoms they need to be aware of.
So that's also a great question. Look, we see a lot of patients that for years they have kind of multifactorial leg pain. They think it's from their back or their joints, whether hip or knees or something like that. And they get to us late. So those patients are getting to us late sometimes. So, in terms of peripheral arterial disease, you want to be looking for something called claudication or pain when you're ambulating, right? Specifically tight pain in your calves, but it can be a whole spectrum of symptoms. It can be leg fatigue when you're walking. In terms of venous disease, you're looking for swelling of the legs that's progressive throughout the day. You're looking for skin discoloration, specifically in the lower legs, down around the shin, ankles, and then different symptoms. People have neuropathy from diabetes. Right. They may have worsening, like a numbness and tingling sensation in their legs. They have varicose veins, like little veins popping out that they think are a cosmetic reason, but that's just the pathology of what's happening. That's not the underlying physiology of what's actually wrong with their legs.
Right. And then ulcerations as well, right?
I'm sorry?
Ulcerations.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's
kind of the obvious,
way
right?
down the line, but
right.
that's absolutely something. If you ever have especially a non-healing wound, right. Sure, you may stub your toe, bang your leg on, the side of your bed, or, your dog may scratch you. But if that area is not healing, you need to get in to see one of our team members, right away.
Right. Well, Dr. Doug, we are so very excited that you're here. We're hoping that you make that decision to stay here, South Louisiana, because we could certainly use somebody with your insight and what you've learned here, being able to take care of our patients in Houma, in Gregg, Thibodaux, in our area. We appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. I love it down here. It's kind of like the where I grew up. It's kind of like the southern version of that without hills, snow, or the cold.
I know that's right. Some good things. We appreciate it. All right, guys, that'll do it for this particular segment. Don't go anywhere. A whole lot more right here on HTV.